Hi everyone, welcome to training for the Iowa Butterfly Survey Network. I'm Anita Westfall and this is Nathan Brockman, and we are the coordinators of this statewide citizen science project. I just want to encourage you all to contact us if you have any questions or any problems arise while you are participating for IBSN. I just want to also say thank you for choosing to participate in this project.
Thank you for joining us today for Iowa Butterfly Survey Network training. We'll be taking you through all of the steps and protocols that you need to learn in order to conduct a survey. A couple of housekeeping items. Before you leave today, make sure you complete the Iowa Butterfly Survey Network volunteer application and make sure you read and sign the volunteer service agreement. And finally, when you're all done, you'll want to make sure you send Anita Westfall an email saying which site you would like to survey so that she can finish the process of getting you all signed up. So what is the Iowa Butterfly Survey Network? It is a program that utilizes citizen scientists, which are essentially just trained volunteers, to go out into the field and survey butterfly populations annually using a Pollard walk method. Now, the Pollard method was one that was established by two gentlemen named Pollard and Yates. Here's a map of one that's copied right out of their book. Basically, you walk a set transect route and then monitor the butterflies you see along it. And we'll talk about the different caveats to doing the survey as we go through training today. The Iowa Butterfly Survey Network is part of a bigger national network, which is called the North American Butterfly Monitoring Network, and it has an assortment of groups that are part of it. It is the group that made it possible for us to have the database that we use now, that we call Pollard Base. So I'm going to take you through site selection and site layout for your survey location. Now, we have a lot of different sites that are being covered across the state. One of our big kind of end goals is to get at least one surveyor in each of the 99 counties. That's one of our personal in-house goals and be fun to meet someday. But basically, the more people we can get surveying across the state, the better picture we get of what's going on statewide. So what are good sites that we would like to see surveyed? Well, managed lands are great, whether they're federal, something like Neil Smith here in Iowa, a state like Big Creek, a county, McFarland Park is a good example for us here in Ames, or city even, like Ada Hayden is a city park. All of those managed lands are great places to survey for butterflies. We also have an interest in farm buffer zones. So if you live in an area or if you live out on a farm and you've got a buffer strip or CRP land that's along the fields and maybe the road or just an area along the roads, those are great and good information, especially here in Iowa. That's a lot of corridor potentially for butterflies, and what's moving through there and is seen there on an annual basis is great information for us. Roadside ditches, so if you just live out in the country, running roadside ditches is another great location that we have a lot of interest in learning more about. And private lands. If you've got a property that you manage or that you just own and want to know what's on it, we'd also like to know what's on it, because a lot of populations of butterflies that aren't known about could be hidden on some of those larger private lands. And so private lands is a great spot to survey as well. So pretty much any plot of land where there's habitat where you're going to see butterflies. We don't want to send people out into just a mowed turf area because they're not going to see any butterflies. Other good things to do, speak with the land manager. So when you pick a site, knowing the land manager may need to know you're on there if it's a managed land. We may have to get a permit depending on what type of managed land it is. But land managers are great to talk to. They can tell you the good locations potentially to survey. They may know where they've seen butterflies before. They know where the habitat potentially is on the site, where butterflies may be moving through. They can possibly tell you the types of habitats that are on their site, whether it's a wet prairie, a fen, a dry prairie, oak savanna, they can break it down to what kind of habitat types are across the prairie. Areas that are managed and are of interest, so if there's a spot where they know they're going to be coming in and cutting out a bunch of trees real soon and converting it to prairie, that might be a site worth adding to a survey so you can track the changes over time. If it's burned, so say a part of the prairie is burned every 3 years, but this other part over here is burnt every year, knowing those managed tricks that they use on those areas is great, because then we can monitor them as 2 separate chunks and see how the 2 behave and what butterflies are seen on both. If there are special regulations on the site, some sites don't allow you to do any catching with nets. That's something you'll need to know so that you don't net if it's not allowed. They may already have a species list for the site. They can give you that, would narrow down what butterflies they believe are there. But for a lot of these sites, probably you'll be creating the species list for them. As you learn what's on their site, you can share back with them. And then again, catch and release may be a special permission. Another special type permission, some may not allow you to leave sidewalks. So that would be a piece that we would need to know and get recorded as well. Route design. So as much as possible when we set up our routes, we want to cover the different habitats on a particular site so that we can get a good diversity of the different butterflies that are found on that site. We like to use existing paths and trails whenever possible. And even when we go out, if we have to cut through an area that doesn't have a path, we don't like to walk the exact same spot every time. That creates kind of that animal trail through there, and we don't want to disturb the habitat like that. We'd like to leave it as less disturbed as possible, and that's why staying on the paths or on the trails kind of mitigates that, because you're using a predetermined path that everyone else is going to walk on anyways. You want to create a route that can be replicated by yourself or others on an annual basis. So it's important as you're laying them out to lay out, good areas where a turn may happen, so that someone else picks it up later and they're walking through the middle of the field and they're like, there's a turn here, but where do I turn? So if there's a tree, if there's a post, if the path runs and turns at a particular location, you want to use landmarks that will be there for quite some time. So if someone's trying to read your map and follow your steps, they can do that. And we want to create a route that takes longer than 30 minutes, but less than 2 hours to walk through. Anything less than 30 minutes, and we're just not getting enough data to really quantify it against other sites. And over 2 hours we want to avoid, because 2 hours in a hot Iowa summer, you start seeing a lot more things than just butterflies. It's hot, and we don't want anyone getting too dehydrated. We want them to stay focused. And again, 2 hours in hot Iowa summer weather, it just gets a little harder to do the work, and we want to keep things safe. So that's kind of our breakdown on distances, is how much you can walk. It could be over 30 minutes, under 2 hours to walk the route. There are a series of different habitat types found throughout Iowa. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that. We have a resource in the packet that we passed out that you can look at different habitat types. Again, talking to land managers so they can possibly break down what habitat types are there is great as well. And then we want to divide our route up based on these different habitat types. So here's just an example of a route. This is actually the original garden map. So on the right, you can see the way we originally kept our map. And then later, we got a little more sophisticated and started using Google Earth to make our maps. But you can see in our old method, we used to go and leave the particular section and come back to it. Nowadays, when we lay out our routes, we don't leave and enter sections. Once you leave a section, you're out, and then you go into your next section. So this is McFarland Park. This is one of the routes that we have surveyed, how a general route is set up. You have your start, which is down on the bottom. There is a parking lot there. It's a good location to always kind of start where you're getting out of your car. That person would then go up through a prairie section, through a wooded section, which we call B, through a second prairie section, through another wooded section called D. A and C are managed differently. They get burned at different times, and so keeping them as two separate sections actually helps us analyze the data differently. And so as you're going, you change your sections and you record what you see in those different sections. And it's always nice if you can end roughly where you started so you don't waste a lot of time. We have a handful of routes where people survey on the way out, and it's kind of a straight line out. And once they get out there, then they just walk back. If when you're setting up your route, you have to cross over the same piece of land, sort of like what happens a little bit at Ryman Gardens. If you cross over the same path, we don't record the butterflies twice on that same piece of path. So if you want to record on the way out, that's fine, but then don't record when you come back on that same path.
So this is what the Google pages will look like. When you send me a site, or if we, through email exchange, figure out what site will work best for you, it's always good to make sure you pick a site that's close to home or something that's very easy for you to get to. And we want to make sure that the route you pick, you're going to be able to have good habitats and be able to find butterflies. We don't want you to go to a city park that has one little garden, but the rest of the park is mostly turf and trees, because you're just not going to have good numbers. And that tends to be discouraging for new surveyors. So this is what it will look like when I send you a link on Google, through Google Maps, to set up your route. This is what you'll see when you get it. And I have directions that are in your training packets. You'll be able to go through those directions. You'll be able to add lines like this and set up your route. And if you have troubles with that, I'm very willing to help work with you and help get you a route set up for you. Sometimes it's just easier to work with the person that's volunteering, because they probably know the site a lot better than I do. So they, and especially if it's a park or a property that you frequent a lot, you have a better idea of what paths are there and what are the best places that might have the best habitat to do your surveys on.
All right, so conducting a survey. What are the protocols that you need to follow when conducting a survey? The first part is there is only one monitor or set of eyes per run. And the reason we do this is if a single individual goes out and does an hour-long survey, they're going to see so many butterflies. But if on another site, a group of, let's say, 5 individuals go out and survey, and they're all looking for butterflies, they're going to find more butterflies because there are more sets of eyes just looking around. And so it's harder to quantify the data from different sites if there are more observers. So what we say is there can only be one set of eyes, but more people can go out on the survey and participate, but only that one person gets to see butterflies, and the others can help in other ways. One of the things that other people can do is they can be the recorder. Now, the person going out by themselves can also record for themselves, but if you have a group, you can have one person be the eyes, one person be the recorder who writes all the information down while the survey is going on. And they can keep the records. The record keeper isn't allowed to spot butterflies, as I mentioned, but they can. Anyone that's going along can help with identification of a butterfly. So if you stop, a person sees a butterfly, I don't know what that was, anyone in the group can help identify it down to the level they're most comfortable. So if they get it to species, great. If they can only say, well, it was a swallowtail butterfly, that's fine as well. So the important thing is as you're going out on a survey, only one person gets to see the butterflies. The others can help with recording, identification, but not spotting or pointing out or a butterfly, signaling that the person who is the eyes missed a butterfly. We run our surveys between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. See, the great thing about doing butterfly work is we don't do it on yucky rainy days. We don't go out really early in the morning, so you get to sit around, have that extra cup of coffee. So our surveys don't start till 10 a.m. It is possible to be running a survey after 4 p.m., but we want to start surveys at about 4 p.m. Because as you get later in the day, a lot of the butterflies start settling down for the evening. We like to conduct the runs at a uniform pace. So if you kind of think walking through the mall, that's kind of how we want your pace to be. We don't want you to be like, oh, there's no butterflies in this section, and run ahead to the next area. It's important to have kind of an even pace throughout, because as we're looking at the data, we want to kind of quantify, distance covered versus time, and if you've got areas where you ran through versus areas where you walked through, we don't have great information there. So as much as possible, we want to go a nice, even pace as we're walking through our route. It is okay to pause briefly to catch a butterfly, to stand and identify a butterfly, but if you're going to pause for more than 15, 20 seconds, go ahead and write the times that you stopped. So I was paused for 4 minutes. I was paused for 10 minutes trying to catch and identify a butterfly. And again, that just lets us kind of have a uniform time so that we can lay out observations over time or observations over time and distance. Both ways that we look at how much work is done, how many butterflies are seen. And so again, on your field form, just make notes, and that can be entered right into Pollard Base as well. So when you're out, you can't just see any butterfly. Our protocol has built into it observation parameters. You can see anything, any individuals within a 6-meter or 18-foot radius of yourself. So if you just imagine yourself out in the field, standing in a bubble that runs around you, 6 meters above, 6 meters out, forward, back, behind, doesn't matter, any direction, you can count the butterfly if it's in that. If it's out past that, we don't count that then. We don't actively search foliage for butterflies. So if you're going along, we don't swap the flowers, shake a bush to try and make butterflies fly. Our surveys are perceived numbers of butterflies. And so we know that you're going to miss some that may be sitting, but we don't want to be shaking foliage. What you see as you're going is what gets counted. As you're walking along, and if a butterfly crashes your path right before you get there, we don't want you to speed up to get it into your survey route. If you're going to be there in just a moment, it's okay to just count that butterfly and then keep working your area. Don't purposely speed up to get it within your 6 meters. You'll be there in just a moment anyways. Count it as part of that. Only net butterflies for identification purposes and then release them immediately. So our survey does not have any sort of capture and keep element to it. We want to keep the butterflies out in the field. If a butterfly were to be of real big interest, somebody were to find a butterfly that hasn't been found in the state for some time, something like purplish copper, then somebody else would be asked to go out to that site and maybe do some looking to see if they too can find and get a photo voucher, or maybe if they have permission, take a pin voucher specimen. So when you're out, if the site allows it, it's okay to net and look at the butterfly, but once you're done with your observation, then just let it go and continue on your route. So as I mentioned earlier, we only kind of survey in fair weather sort of things. So if there's any precipitation, we're not surveying. If you're out on a survey and it starts raining on you, record your time you stopped and head to shelter. If it's a quick rain and passes right away, you can go back out to that same spot and start over again and start your time up and continue on. But if there's any rain, we're not out surveying, the butterflies won't be flying. Now temperature fluctuates a bit. We don't go out and survey when it's cold, because the butterflies again won't be flying. And so really anything about under 60 degrees and you don't want to be out surveying at all. If it was a really bright, hot, sunny day, but still about that 60 degree, you might see some butterflies, but it's not going to be great. On the other end of that spectrum, if it's a hot, sunny day, getting up in the 80s, 85 degrees, you probably also don't want to be surveying much past that because, again, it'll be too hot, the butterflies will settle down, they won't be flying. Now, on the same time, if it's a cloudy, warmer day, then maybe they will be out flying, and 80, 85, maybe pushing close to 90, and you'll still have some decent activity, but it won't be so hot that they won't be flying anymore. And so you just want to kind of that in-between area, and you just have to kind of watch how the sun is acting with the heat. And if it's too hot, don't survey. Too cold, don't survey. You're just not going to find anything. If it's really windy, you're also not going to find any butterflies. All of these things will be things you'll be putting on your survey form and tracking. And if you go out, keep the data, turn it in. And if the weather doesn't turn out great and you don't see a lot of butterflies, that's fine. We can sort things based on weather, but the more surveys that are done and we can look at, the better it is anyway. So just go out, just make sure you record your weather data. But it's best if you can kind of get in that sweet spot, a sunny day where it's warmer but not super hot. That's when you're going to have the best survey. You're going to see the most butterflies. All right, so when do we conduct our runs? As part of our protocol, and so that we can kind of standardize and really get a good picture, we kind of have minimum conditions. So what are our minimums? 6 runs between June 1st and August 8th. That's when a big bunch of our butterflies are out. And we'd like 4 of those done before July 20th. Now, those are our minimum survey times. The more you go out and survey, the better it is. If you can make it out every week, once a week, that would be super. That gives us more data on your site. We can track trends better. And you'll notice things like this miss monarch migration. And so definitely going out later and kind of catching some of those numbers, or as they're building up to those numbers, is a wonderful thing to do. And then when you get your surveys done, make sure you're submitting those into Pollard Base. The sooner you submit them, the sooner we can start looking at them, and we can maybe see trends, or if there's a peak year in butterflies, then we can let other people know about it and maybe encourage them to make sure they get out and try and catch that peak if it's at their location as well. So it can be entered end of year, that's fine, but if you enter it sooner, we start looking at it sooner. So here is some data from 2015. We're just going to use as an example set here. You'll see there are 3 different trend lines. Those are 3 different species of butterflies. The red lines that run up and down are our minimum survey periods. And so if you didn't go out before the minimum survey time, you'd miss the start of the red admirals. You'd still catch the peak here, but you'd miss when they first started coming in and had a decent number as well. Cabbage whites are the blue line at the top, and you'd see they just kind of keep going, and you'd miss their peak that year. Their peak fell past our parameter survey periods, our minimum survey periods. And you see you definitely, in the orange is our monarchs, and you basically missed monarchs that year if you didn't go out and survey past the minimum survey time. And so it's okay, as soon as snow starts melting and it starts warming up and the leaves start coming on the trees, go out and survey. Even if you get a 0, 0 is still really good information for us. 0 is a number in science. And then as you track things in the fall and it starts getting a little cooler and the leaves start changing, you might still see butterflies up until that last frost. And you could even go out after that first big kind of hard frost if you want. And again, you may still get 0, but you may still find a couple butterflies. And again, that's all really good information. But we have 6 surveys we really want done. That's kind of our minimum number in that window that we talked about. So here's another way to look at that data. Here's some data from 2017. What we're looking at here, the bar is running up. That is the number of surveyors that are out in the field. And then the blue line going across is number of butterflies observed. And if you look just at the minimum period, the window where the minimums are required to happen, we have a lot of surveyors out in the field, and they see some butterflies. But the big peak of butterflies were found later in the fall that year. We had less surveyors out, but notice how they saw so many more butterflies. If we had more surveyors out over more areas at that time looking, that peak would even be higher on number of butterflies observed on that particular day. So lots of data to be had if you have time and can get out more than the minimum 6 times in a year. So what are some other activities? Again, when you're out monitoring, minimize your distractions. So no monitoring other species. So if you're a birder, take your birder hat off and leave it in the car and do your butterfly work. And when you're done, you can put that birder hat back on and finish off that life list you've been working on. Birders make great butterfly surveyors. They kind of been used to that hunt. They want to find those species. And I like to tease birders a bit that we get to sleep in a little more than they do, and we wait for nicer weather. It's okay to photograph species when you're out. Nowadays, with smartphones the way they are, or if you like to carry a small camera, just a quick snap of the butterfly, and then you can take it back, look at it on your computer, and then use that to help you identify that one if you weren't sure. Again, take quick shots of the butterflies and keep moving. If you're carrying your big heavy camera gear and you're trying to get that National Geographic award-winning shot, you're going to have to record on your document that you stopped, you paused while you were doing your survey because you spent more time taking pictures. So it's okay to take quick snapshots as you're moving along, but leave your big camera in the car, come out after you're done, then try and get the best photo of a red admiral that you've ever taken, not while you're conducting your route. Other distractions. It's okay to have people coming along with you. Just make sure that the eyes are keeping on task. If you're out walking your dog while you're doing your survey, keep the dog on a leash. If the dog's off a leash and just running through all the tall grasses in the prairie, well, that dog then is flushing the butterflies up for you. And we want to keep things fairly standardized, so we don't want one person with a dog seeing more butterflies because they're stirring all the butterflies up for them. So if they're out with you, going with you, keep them on a leash so they're not out running around through the plants, stirring up more butterflies for you. It doesn't hurt, and Pollard Base will allow you to enter photos into it at the beginning of each year. If you just stand and take a picture down the site, that can tell us a lot of great information. We can see maybe potentially that a site's been burned or a portion of a site's been burned. We can see that it's starting to overgrow. And so as things change, just having a picture sometime during the season, even anytime, lets us know what's going on in the different transects of your route. All right, so survey tools, what do you need? Net, clear container, both optional items. There are a lot of different kind of nets you can choose from. You can go with something like this student collecting net here, just a white net bag, small wood handled net, relatively cheap. And you swing, catch your butterfly, away you go. I prefer to use a wider net, gives you a little more catching surface area. I like an aluminum pole, it's a little lighter. And then I like a black or dark green net bag. The reason being, when you use one of these white nets outside and the sun is shining on it, the sun reflects off of it and it makes it hard to see into. Where with these black ones, it's a lot easier when the sun's shining on it to see into the net. And so this one is a black no-seam net from BioQuip, I believe. Container's not a bad idea if you are going to catch them, to transfer them into a clear container so you can look at them a little bit easier. An empty peanut butter jar or whatever would work fine. You can also use things like Ziploc bags, work really well for people because they can fold up in their pockets. You can kind of put a little air in there with the butterfly will sit kind of still, And then when you're done, as we talked about, we release the butterflies back into the wild. Take your field form out with you when you go. Even if you're going to be recording on the app, it's not a bad idea to have a field form with you in case your phone happens to die while you're out surveying, that you can then transfer over and use the field forms. Site map, especially if you're new to surveying the butterflies, or if you've got somebody who's never surveyed before so they can see the different sections on the route. Have a map so you know where you're going and what the different sections are. Writing utensil, whether it's pencil or pen, both can be fine. One of our volunteers told me one time the appropriate number of writing utensils to have with you was 3. So when you lost your first 2, you still had that third one that you could finish your survey with. Field guides, any of the field guide books wouldn't be bad to take out in the field with you. If you would like, again, they add more weight, so sometimes those are better if you've got other people or you're packing around a backpack. Watch and cell phone, you need your start time, your end times. Recording your time is very important. So however you want to record your time, that's fine. Just make sure you have that with you. And then optional equipment would be cameras or close focus binoculars. Carrying an extra camera is not required. If you've got your phone, that's great. You can use it as a camera. Again, we want to just take quick little snapshots of our butterflies, nothing that takes a lot of time. Close focus binoculars are great because as you're looking at a butterfly from a distance, they can let you look up close at it, see a little more detail, and help you identify the butterflies. All right, so let's talk about safety considerations. While you're out walking, closed-toed shoes or boots. This is not sandal work. You don't want to step on a twig and get it shoved in your foot. So some sort of sturdy shoes as you're walking what could be some rough areas, help you not fall. So closed-toed shoes. Long sleeves or light materials and colors. So long sleeves, long pants are great. They can help you protect yourself from the sun. They can help with scratches. They can help with ticks. And so if you can go that route, great. Some people still go out in their shorts and t-shirts. That's your preference. But best if you have lightweight, long attire you can wear to protect you in those areas. Light colors to help reflect off the sun can make it a little more pleasant and cooler while you're surveying as well. Hats. I don't like people wearing sunglasses to do their surveys. It can darken the scenery, make it harder for people to see the butterflies. I much prefer they wear a trucker's hat or a wide brim hat, something with a brim to block the sun, and then they can see more colors. They can potentially see the butterflies a bit better that way than wearing some sort of dark sunglasses. So protect your eyes with a hat or something along those lines. Work with a buddy. So have somebody go along with you on your route. Something happens, they're there, they can help you out. Again, only one of you can be the eyes, the other can be the recorder, they can help identify. So have a buddy. Carry a cell phone. Something were to happen, at least you've got that phone you can call. A thing I really like, though, is have a check-in person. So if you're going to go and do surveys, especially if you're doing them by yourself, even if you've got your cell phone on you, tell somebody that you're going out to do your surveys. Make sure that person has a copy of your map. And then call them and say, hey, I'm going out and do my survey. You don't hear from me in 2 hours. Come looking for me. And then when you get done with your survey, give them a call and say, hey, I'm done. And they'll know that you're okay and they won't come out looking for you. Bring water. This is Iowa, it gets hot. We don't want to get anyone dehydrated while they're out surveying. Bring yourself some water, something you can drink. Wear sunscreen. Don't want to get a sunburn while you're out there. Not great. It is okay to wear insect repellent. It's not going to scare the butterflies away at all. So if you want to wear some insect repellent while you're doing your surveys, go right ahead and do it. A lot of us will be going through some areas where there could be ticks, there could be high mosquito populations sometimes. Make it more comfortable for yourself and wear that insect repellent. Check for ticks when you are done. That's never a bad idea. Ticks are going to grab onto you from hanging onto a plant or something and then crawl up you. So again, having long pants, long sleeves can kind of help you see them on them, or when you change afterwards. they get taken off in the process, so always check yourself for ticks. If you're allergic to bees in any way and you carry an EpiPen, make sure you have it with you every time you go out and survey. And then if you're stung, make sure you go to the hospital and get yourself checked over afterwards. All right, so let's talk about recording data now while you're out in the field. So everyone's going to have a field form. They all look like this. You will have access in the box to a raw format of this that you can modify. That you will receive kind of a base form that you can use, but it's perfectly okay to change the species on this list to the ones that you see at your site. So the way these forms work, dates at the top. Always fill in the forms. Even though you're like, oh, I'm out in the field, I'm going to go back home and I'm going to enter this later. Something happens at home, you get busy later and you're like, when did I go out and survey? I've got 3 here with no dates on them. Which was on which day? So just take an extra moment, fill out all the forms. So date, location where you surveyed. If you only have one place you survey, which most of you will, that'll be easy for you. Who was the eyes? If there was another person along, who did the recording? Good things, all things we keep track of in Pollard Base. Really important for us, start time and end time. Please, please, please record these times. This is an important piece for us to quantify the data. Amount of work done over time, observations over time are important things. We need that start and end time. And then you're going to put the weather data in. And we've got a Buford weather wind chart that we'll put in there that'll help you break down what kind of wind you're seeing. We've got percentage of cloud cover, 0 being clear, 100% being completely cloud covered. You're going to break it down into 10% increments. And then the temperature when you go out and start your survey. If you want, you can even record what it was when you ended your survey. Pollard Base will allow you to do weather data from both the start and end of your surveys. And then your different sections, you'll be entering that into Pollard Base, so it's not as necessary once you know what the section types are for A, B, C, D, and E, but maybe your first couple you want to write down what the different ones were as a reminder. Then on your forms, you'll see you have them broken down into families. So when we're working on this, we record to the species we're most comfortable. That's exactly what it is. If we're not sure what kind of butterfly it is, but we know it's a butterfly and it's a swallowtail, then you can do things like unknown swallowtail, and that's perfectly okay. And again, it's possible then, once you know that your site has certain species on it, to make sure that those species are on this list so that you don't have to hand write them into the blanks that we've provided as well. Then when you go to write your butterflies in on your sheets, you just make a little tally mark in the column for which section you're in. So if you're in section A and you see a butterfly, you make a tally mark in the box for black swallowtail. If you're walking along in A still and you see a cabbage white, you make a little tally mark down in A in the cabbage white section. You've left A, you've moved into B, all your recordings go into the B section. And then when you get done, you can total everything up on the totals on the right, and there's also a total column at the bottom to tell you how many of which species you saw and how many you saw in each section on your route. All of the totaling is automatically done by Pollard Base, so it's really on the paper forms more for you.
So when you get to reporting at home, we want to go to the Pollard Base website, pollardbase.org. You'll have to, when you first start out, you'll have to sign up for an account. You will not be able to enter any data until I have activated your account. So please make sure you get your account set up before you go out and start surveying. That way I can make sure it's activated, so once you do start surveying, you're able to go ahead and get into the system and get your reports entered. So once you get in there and log in, you'll pick your username, your email address. Please make sure you enter your real name, and make sure you check that you are part of the Iowa Butterfly Survey Network. If you do not pick the specific program that you're working with, your account just kind of is out in limbo, and I will not be able to get to it to activate it. When I start checking Pollard Base every day, this is what I see. You can see here it says I have a pending volunteer, so that is a list for me to go in to make sure I get those new accounts activated. So when you sign into Pollard Base, this is your dashboard. This is what you're going to see. You'll see program routes. This is all the routes that are active in the state at the time. You can go up here on the blueprint and pick Visit the Program page. This will help you find your route, and then once you get to that page on your route, there's a place where you can pick that as your favorite. That way it always shows up on your favorites on the dashboard. That way you can easily go to your route, especially if it's, you know, at the end of the alphabet. You don't have to go through 6 pages every time when you get on the site to enter your surveys. This is the other part of the dashboard. You can upload a picture so you have people know that you're part of the program. And then over here we have the leaderboard. So this shows who the top surveyors were the last couple of the last year. And then we also have a spot where it tells how many surveys have been done so far that year. So as you start to enter your data, so you get to the first page, you enter your name. So put your name in where it says observer or spotter. So make sure when you enter your surveys, always put your name in the same way. When I do reports at the end of the year, it prints out as surveys done by username, and so, or by site. And if you put your name in different every single time you enter a report, it shows up on a different page. So it doesn't total up your figures for me at all. And then make sure if you have someone that's doing recording for you, enter that name also. Then you go across the top, we have these tabs. You just go through the tabs until you're done entering all of your information. So this is your species page. Once you go in here the first time, you can enter the habitats that you have, and then you go down here to the bottom, and then when you click on this, it brings down a drop down. You go through there, click on whatever species you're trying to enter, and then how many you see in each one of your transects across the bottom. And then once you enter one species, you just go down to the bottom here where it says add another item, and then go on to the next one until you're all finished entering all your species on that survey. Then once you get that done, it's going to have a section also where you can upload images. People can use that when we talked about taking pictures of your transects. That's a place right here where you can upload those pictures. This is also a place where you can upload photos if you need help with identification. There's a place on, let me go back here. Oh, right here at the top. There's a notes section. If you have something where you want to put notes in there about specific things you saw, or if you have a question about a butterfly that you saw, you can leave a note in there that says, please help with identification. I can look at the pictures and I can help you get that figured out.
All right, I'm going to talk to you about our apps. So we worked with a group of students at Iowa State University. They helped us create the Unified Butterfly Recorder. This can be used on your Android or mobile device. If you are going to use a mobile device, check with us, and then we can give you the up-to-date information you need to know about using these devices. But basically, just a brief overview of how it all works. There is a setting page in both the Android and iOS. The iOS version is this red one here. The Android version is the gray one over on the other side. They have the same basic settings, and we have specific instructions for each of these that you can find in the side box as well. But how they work, you would start your route, and then as you're going around, you would just touch on a butterfly, and you would see a number pop up, and if you saw 4, you would touch it 4 times, and it would say 4, and as you're walking and just touching the things. And then as you change sections, you would need to make sure that you change which section you're in. You can see on the Android one over there that it says A and Forest, so that you know what section you're in that you're entering your data towards. And if you want, you can go in and you can edit the sightings. So, oh, I actually saw 3, not 2. You could go in and switch it. And then we have it set up so that it'll actually record extra data as well. And what's neat that it does when you do use these apps, it'll auto-create these maps. And so when you get done, you can actually see where you saw all the butterflies. You can see exactly where you walked while you went on your route. As I mentioned before, some of our routes, you start at the start point, you walk to the end, surveying, and then you walk back. And so this is one of those sort of routes. The other route over there on the Android app is actually the Ryman Garden route and all the butterflies that were seen in it. And the colors on the dots actually changed based on the species of butterfly that was seen. And the more related they are, the more the colors match. So if it's a bunch of swallowtails, it'd be different colors of, let's say, purple. And if it was painted ladies, which is the Nymphalidae, and then red admirals, those two are closely related, they might be different shades of yellows or oranges. And then finally, you can export the information. As of right now, you have to export the information and send it to us. There is not a direct link between these two apps and the UBR app. And so we have instructions on how to do that, and we're willing to help you out with that as well. Some fun things you can do if you do use the app, we can create some other fun maps. So this is actually a heat map. And I don't know what year this was, but we took every butterfly sighting from that year and we put it on this map. And so you can see where the bigger populations of butterflies were found when we went out and did our surveys. And so on this particular year, there's a lot down on the south side of the gardens where there's a prairie at that time, and then in the home production gardens. And so the home production gardens was probably a bunch of cabbage whites. All right, so let's talk some general biology. Now, we're not going to spend a lot of time today talking about every butterfly, facts and information, just real light. So there are 4 stages to the butterfly's life cycle. We have the egg, we have the caterpillar, we have the pupa, and then finally the adult. We only record, as we are doing our surveys, the adult stage. If you're going along and you find a cluster of butterfly eggs, or you find a group of caterpillars feeding on, say, a milkweed plant, a bunch of monarchs, we don't record those. We hope as we come out later, we'll get a chance to see them as adults. So don't count the earlier stages, we only count the adult life stages. So it's not a bad idea to know the parts of the butterfly, at least the general ones, as you're going through some of the butterfly identification books, especially, and they talk about, say, a special dot or something being on the forewing, knowing where that is. So forewings are the 2 wings found up by the head. The hind wings is the 2 wings found behind that. Your butterfly has 3 body parts, a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. The thorax is the section that the mobility parts are attached to, so your wings, your legs are all attached to the thorax. On the head of the butterfly, you'll have the antennas. And for our butterflies, they're essentially just going to be straight antennas with bumps at the ends. Our butterflies have compound eyes, and our butterflies feed with a proboscis. And the proboscis is essentially 2 hydraulic tubes that are kind of zippered together, and they end up feeding up that space in the middle. And then they have their 6 legs, if you can see all 6 legs, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So those are the main parts of a butterfly's body. Your butterfly's wings are going to be covered with tiny overlapping scales. So here we're looking at a wing that was under a dissecting microscope with the camera put on it. And you can see the overlapping scales. This is actually a tropical butterfly. This is the blue morpho. The scales can be rubbed off, but the scales are what give the butterflies their color and their pattern. And so as they get a little older, sometimes some of them get rubbed off, and it does affect their appearance a bit, but you can usually still tell, even if they are pretty tattered or rubbed butterflies. Again, when the butterflies feed, they feed with their proboscis here. You can actually see the proboscis in this individual right there in the front. It's all curled up. So when they're not feeding, they curl it up and hold it out of the way. When they need to feed, again, those two hydraulic hoses kind of let them unroll it and control it so that they can find and get the nectar reward from the flowers, if they're flower feeders. Egg laying, that's one of those times you're possibly going to see the butterflies as they're flying around and laying their eggs. So if you're in an area with host plants, that's when you expect to see females flying. They have lots of different ways they lay their eggs. Some species, they tend to lay clusters of eggs, 50 to 100 in one area. Some lay one per plant, so it varies. They may lay their eggs on the underside of a leaf, on the top of a leaf, depending on the species. So they all have different ways they do it. But there's our eggs.
So let's go through some of the first butterflies that we ask you to learn for your first year of surveying. A little bit about taxonomy. So this just kind of goes through the taxonomic layout. And we talk about this just because as you go through and do your identification, we want you to be able to just identify to what you're most comfortable with. So whether you can look at a butterfly and easily distinguish, yes, that is a monarch, or yes, that is a black swallowtail. You know specifically what the species is. Then we want you to include that on your survey. If something flies by, you see it out of the corner of your eye, the best you might be able to do is, I know it was a butterfly. So on your survey, if you count it as an unknown butterfly, it's still okay. It might also be something that's a little different that you haven't seen before, and you just aren't for sure what it is. You didn't get a good picture. So it is perfectly okay to call it an unknown butterfly because you still counted it. Unknown swallowtail, so you know for sure that it was a swallowtail. So knowing that it was a swallowtail takes it from, 100, we have 120 species in the state. So being able to say, I know it was a swallowtail, that shrinks down the possibilities to about 4 to 6. And then being able to distinguish, so question marks and commas, which you'll see when we get a little bit farther in this part of the presentation, they're very similar in the way they look, and sometimes the only way that's easily distinguishable is if you can see the underneath side of the hind wing. And so it's a common thing, people say, well, I know it was a question mark or a comma, and that's perfectly fine because on Pollard base, there is a spot or a species listed that says it was an unknown Polygonia. Polygonia is what the genus of the butterfly is. So I know it was one of those two species. So then again, that takes it from 120 butterflies that it could be if you put unknown butterfly down to the point where we know it was one of these two species. And then finally down to, like I said before, I know it was an eastern tail blue. So you have the specific species. So let's start with the swallowtail family first. So these are some of the largest butterflies we have in Iowa. As far as legs, swallowtails use all 6 of their legs as walking legs. Their antennae are clubbed and curved. So if you notice, they have a thickened end, but they also have a curve to their antenna on the end. And their thorax and their head are similar in size. So the first one we'll talk about is the black swallowtail. Black swallowtail uses things like parsley or dill for a host plant. So if you have green striped caterpillars on your dill or your parsley in the summer in your herb garden, that's most likely what you have on there is black swallowtails. There's also golden alexanders is a native plant to Iowa. That's what they would use out in a native prairie where there aren't planted herbs. And then as an adult, they like to variety on a series or a variety of nectar plants. The black swallowtail is one of the smallest swallowtails. Mostly black, does have these 2 rows of yellow dots. And then as you can see on the underneath side, they have 2 rows of big orange dots on the hind wing. The next one is the giant swallowtail. This one has sort of an arc through the wings. Inside the margins, they have a stripe of yellow spots, but they also have this arc through the forewings. They are one of the largest butterflies in the state. And the next butterfly is the tiger swallowtail. And I like to distinguish the two by saying the giant swallowtail is black with yellow spots. And then as you'll see in the next slide, the tiger swallowtail is yellow with black stripes. And then on the inside, a little more yellow, but very similar to what the top of the wings look like. These butterflies use hop tree or prickly ash as a host plant, and they like to nectar on a variety of plants. So like I said before, the next one is the tiger swallowtail. This is also a very large butterfly. As you can see, it is mostly yellow, and then it has these black vertical stripes through the forewings. There's also, you have to catch it in just the right light, but in Iowa there is a black form of this butterfly. It's always a female, but as you can see in the light, it still has these black vertical stripes on the forewings. The adults also like to nectar on a variety of different plants, and they also, you can see the males puddling in like a wet patch in the sand, like along the edge of a creek or a river, also even on a gravel road. On the edge of the gravel road, a lot of times where it's wet after a rain. These guys use fruit trees and different shrubs for their host plant, so things like ash, apple, and cherry. So let's go on to the whites and sulfurs. So these are smaller butterflies. Both sexes use 6 walking legs. The antennae are clubbed at the end, so they are thick at the end, but they are not curved, and their head is almost as wide as its thorax. So the first one, this is probably the most common butterfly you would see in the summer, the cabbage white. Very prolific in urban areas, a lot of times found in home gardens, even home flower gardens and vegetable gardens both. Plants that they use for host plants are in the Brassicaceae family, so things in your garden like cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, kale, those types of things. And then the adults will nectar on just about everything. This actually was not originally a native butterfly, but has been here for many, many years, so it is considered a naturalized species at this point. Clouded sulfur. So sulfurs are the small yellow butterflies that you often see in gardens. This one is the clouded sulfur. They use clover as their host plant, and they like to nectar on a variety of different sources, and these are very prolific in puddling also. The males really like to puddle. Usually you see big groups of these when they're puddling. So pale yellow with black stripes, black margins on the forewings. They do have different forms or different ways they can look. And this is the orange sulfur. So very similar to the clouded sulfur. We always tell people that if you look on your field form, we put this butterfly on the same line, just separated by a slash. These butterflies are, because they have so many different forms and color patterns, what they can look like, it's often difficult to distinguish the orange sulfur from the clouded sulfur, but they also can intermate. So some of them could be hybrids. So a lot of times we always capture those under one species, and they're not necessarily a significant butterfly for data. So being able to distinguish them is not critical. All right, so the next family is the blues, coppers, hair streaks, and harvesters. So these are the lycinids. So these are very small butterflies. Their legs, they use 4 walking legs in the males, 6 walking legs in the females. So in this instance, you are able to actually determine the sex by the number of walking legs that they're using. The antennae are clubbed, and often they look striped like this one does. They have very, very narrow heads, and their antennae look like they actually sit right next to their eye. The 2 species you're going to learn in this family this year is the eastern-tailed blue. So very small butterfly, probably, sometimes has a wingspan of 1 inch. These like to lay their eggs on clover. They also like to nectar off of the clover and smaller plants. So oftentimes you will see these very close to the ground, nectaring on the short clover plants if you have them in your yard or even on your pathway on your survey. If there's clover blooming along your pathway, they really like to nectar on clover. They do nectar on a variety of sources. Like I said, usually smaller flowers. Because of their size, their proboscis is quite a bit shorter than some of the other species, so they have to use smaller flowers to be able to eat. And these guys do also the males like to puddle. Blue, metallic blue on the upper part of the wings, kind of a gray color with these little dashes on the underside of the wings. The way to distinguish these butterflies is they have an orange dot on their hind wing, and then there's 2 orange dots on the outside of the hind wing. And then their tails are very small, and sometimes because of their size it's hard to see the tails, or like I said, they break off very easily sometimes. Spring azure. So this butterfly looks very similar to the eastern-tailed blue, but you can distinguish it based on there are no orange spots on the spring azure. The spring azure uses a variety of flowers, of trees and shrubs. They like to lay their eggs on dogwood, viburnum, wild cherry. They will nectar on a variety of plants, and they do like to puddle. The males do in the wet areas, and this is one of the first butterflies that appears in Iowa in the spring. These guys tend to fly higher because they do lay their eggs on shrubs and small trees. They do tend to fly higher up in the ground as compared to the eastern-tailed blue. The snout butterfly, very distinguishable. You can see on the picture, it looks like they have this big nose. Easiest way to identify that butterfly. Not a very big butterfly. They do have 4 walking legs in the males, 6 walking legs in the females. Their antennae are clubbed. It says scaled, so they are scaled similar to their wings, but you're not going to see that, obviously, unless you have them under a microscope. Their head is almost as wide as their thorax. The very long palpi, that's the anatomic term for their snout, is what gives them that look. On the inside, they have some brown wings with some white dots up towards the top of the forewing, orange spots in the centers of the wings, and then just kind of brown and nondescript on the outside. Helps them blend in if they're sitting still. They like to use hackberry for a host plant, which is a really large tree, and they do nectar off a variety of plants. So the nymphallid butterflies, this is the largest family of butterflies, or one of the largest family of butterflies. Nymphallids all use 4 walking legs, so pretty easy to figure out what a nymphallid is. Their antennae are clubbed and straight. So clubbed at the end, but very straight. Their head is as wide as the thorax. Some of the nymphalids, so American lady. This butterfly likes to use plants in the Asteraceae family. Licorice plant, which is something that you can buy at greenhouses. A lot of people use them. It's got the silvery blue, sometimes fuzzy foliage, used in containers. It's not a blooming plant. And then pussy toes are a small native plant that grows in rocky areas, prairies. Very small, but it also has kind of a silvery blue foliage. The adults, orange on the inside. They have these little eye spots down here on the hind wings. And then on the underside of the wings, to distinguish them between the painted lady, the American lady has 2 large eye spots on the hind wing. And then when you go to the painted lady, you can see the difference here. There's 4 eye spots on the hind wing of the painted lady, as opposed to 2 on the American lady. Orange, kind of an orange and black pattern with some white dots at the top of the forewing. This is one of those where sometimes, depending on how good of a look you get, it's easy to confuse the 2. Once you start seeing them, you'll get better at being able to tell the 2 apart. American ladies, at least in central Iowa, American ladies tend to show up a little bit earlier than painted ladies do. Painted ladies are something that we kind of call a generalist feeder. There are over 100 plants that have been documented that they have used for a host plant. One of those being nettles, but they use other things like sunflowers, zinnias, sometimes lantana. So they have a lot of different things they'll lay their eggs on. And then as an adult food source, these guys will nectar pretty much on any flowers they can find. They also will nectar on rotten fruit. The red admiral is the last of our lady butterflies. The red admiral is very distinct to identify. It's really dark brown, almost black, and then it has this orange pattern that almost makes an orange circle throughout its wings. And then there's a few white spots at the top of the wings. Comes very early, fairly early in the spring. They use nettles as a host plant. They will nectar off of flowers. These guys really do like rotten fruit and tree sap to nectar on, though. And they are very territorial. A lot of times if there's several of them out, you'll see walking around. They'll be perched on the side of a tree, and they'll come out and fly around and chase off things that come into their territory that they've staked out. The buckeye is really easy to identify. It's a brown butterfly. It has these large eye spots with orange and pink and purple in the eye spots on their wings. Not a very big butterfly, but I think one of the prettiest butterflies we have in Iowa. They use plantain and toadflax as host plants. They will nectar off a variety of different flowers, and they do like rotten fruit, and the males can be found puddling. The comma butterfly, so this is the Polygonia comma, one of the 2 we talked about earlier. They use nettles and elm trees for a host plant. These guys will visit flowers. These guys usually prefer rotten fruit or tree sap. A lot of times early in this, if we have an early spring, and as the sap starts running, these guys start showing up. You'll find them on sap runs on the side of trees easily. And this is where I talked about you needed to see the underside on their hind wing. So if you look down here, we have a little silver comma. Sometimes it's hard to see that, but a lot of times they will sit with their wings shut, so then it's easier to be able to see that. And then the next one is the question mark. So as you can see, very similar angular wing pattern. But if you look down here on their hind wing, we have this little comma with the dot. So that's our question mark. These guys use hackberry trees, nettles, or elm trees for host plants. They will visit flowers, but they, like the commas, do prefer rotten fruit and tree sap for nectaring. Great Spangled Fritillary. Fairly, I would say medium, large, on the size of medium butterfly. These guys use violets as a host plant. So these guys do not show up until a little bit later in the year. The caterpillars overwinter. So in the spring when the violets are blooming and growing, you can find caterpillars usually very easily if you're in an area where the adults are usually found. So usually about the middle of June is when these guys have been pupated and then done their time as a pupa and made their transformation, and they usually appear as adults about the middle of June. And then on the outside of their wings, a good way to identify these guys is they have these silver spots on their hind wing. And they like to nectar off of a variety of different flowers. Hackberry Emperor, this is a smaller butterfly. Like their name, they do use hackberry trees as a host. These are similar to red admirals in that they like to stake out little territories and defend those territories. So just like this one, you'll often see them sitting on the sides of trees, staking out their territory, defending it. They are kind of a grayish brown butterfly, and they do have these little eye spots along the wings. They also like to use rotten fruit and tree sap, and these are definitely popular at the puddles too. Morning cloak. Morning cloak is one of the first butterflies that you can see, more of a woodland species. These guys definitely are tree sap eaters. Sometimes if we have warm enough weather during our February thaws, if the temperatures get warm enough for them to warm their bodies up so they can fly, you can find them feeding on tree sap. They like poplar, hackberry, willow, birch, elm for host plants. They mostly do rotten fruit and tree sap. They do puddle some, but more of the rotten fruit than you would tend to find them on flowers. Pearl Crescent. Pearl Crescent is a small butterfly, probably more the size of a lycinid, maybe 1.5 to 2 inches for a wingspan. Their larval host is an aster. They like to nectar on a lot of different flowers that you can find them puddling. Small orange and black pattern on the upper side of the wings. The best way to distinguish these guys, if you can find them sitting with their wings closed, is they have this little crescent moon shape on the outside of their hind wing. The next butterfly we are going to talk about is the red-spotted purple. So red-spotted purple is a medium-sized butterfly. Darker wings, has these blue stripes on the bottoms of the wings. And then it's hard to tell in this picture, but they do have some orange spots on the underside of their hind wing. Larval host plant is willow, apple, or crabapple. Adult food sources, they will nectar on a variety of flowers, but they do like rotten fruit and tree sap also. Viceroy. Viceroy butterfly is a small to medium-sized butterfly. Looks very similar to the monarch, so orange and black. Their larval host is willow and poplar. They do like rotten fruit, honeydew, tree sap. They do puddle, and you can find them feeding on flowers also. I have a next slide shows, this is the comparison between a viceroy and a monarch. So viceroy is here. The best way to distinguish the two apart is this line right here on the hind wings that kind of bisects the hind wing. This black line, and you can see it's not present on the monarch. Common wood nymph. Common wood nymphs are a smaller, medium to small butterfly, usually found in grassy areas. They are a dark brown color, and then they do have these distinctive eye spots on them. Their larval plant is a grass, native grasses. They do visit flowers, but they will also feed on rotten fruit and tree sap. Little wood satyr looks very similar to the common wood nymph. This is probably half the size of the common wood nymph though. So kind of a grayish brown, and again with the distinctive eye spots on the inside and outsides of the wings. Their larval host plant is also grass. They do like rotten fruit and tree sap as well. So the Danaids, or the monarchs, these guys use 4 walking legs also. Their antennae are strongly clubbed, and their head is almost as wide as their thorax. So just one butterfly in this family that you need to learn. The monarch. Most people can readily identify this butterfly. The orange and black wing patterns with the black on the margins of the wings. Males can be distinctive with these 2 spots, black spots on the hind wings. Those are a pheromone gland. These guys like to nectar on a variety of flowers on the garden, and they use milkweed as their host plant. Skippers are the small butterflies that you sometimes see, I would say, racing around the garden. They fly very quickly, sometimes very erratically. Very small butterflies, sometimes confused with moths because they are tend to be brown in color, except for a few exceptions. They have 6 walking legs. Their antennae are curved or hooked at the tip, and you can see it a little bit in this picture, but the next picture shows it really well. They have little short stocky bodies, and their heads are as wide as their thorax. And one of the skippers that you have to learn the first year is the silver spotted skipper. So this is one of the larger species of skippers. You can see up here on the antennas, they are very predominantly hooked on the ends, on the tips. These guys use locust for their host plant, and they like to nectar on a variety of different flowers that are in the garden. Very distinctive with this big silvery white patch on the underside of their hind wing.
So there's a lot of great resources that you can use to identify butterflies in the field. Some really good digital ones. Insects of Iowa is a wonderful resource to use. The nice thing about using this one is it's just Iowa butterflies. And so you're not going to see Texas stuff. You're not going to see California stuff, New York stuff. You're just going to see Iowa butterflies. And so Insects in Iowa is one I would recommend. It also has a photo identification piece to it that you can use, where you can actually upload a photo to the website, and it will give you some suggestions on what it thinks it is. You can visit our website. So we have information on our website as well under the Insects tab, that you can find more information on the Iowa Butterfly Survey Network. You can find our ID cards, other information as well. When training is, if you want to go to Day of Insects. So here's what the Iowa Insect one looks like once you go in. It breaks everything down into families. You then click into the families, and you will see the different butterflies and pictures: wings open, wing closed, pin specimen, live specimens. There's an assortment of great photos there to compare against. Butterflies and moths of North America. Pomona is another good one. It has a lot of images. It has records that you can see, so you can use it to help maybe make your list of what you might see at your site. You can also do that on the Insects of Iowa one. It also tends to have records of butterfly sightings as well. Bug Guide, if you don't know about Bug Guide, it's a great resource for any insect identification. You can pretty much post any photo in there and somebody will hop on there and help you. But you can also, again, click on, say, the butterfly picture. It will show you different families of butterflies. You can click through, see lots of pictures, work on your identification skills in Bug Guide as well. We will have a field day each year. That schedule will change. So again, if you go to the Ryman Gardens website, go to the Insect tab and visit the Iowa Butterfly Survey Network section, you will see the postings for when our field days are. But basically what we do at field day is we take people out into the field and we look at butterflies. We run a route so people can see how it works. They can see the protocol. And we identify butterflies and we talk about it and answer questions. And so it's pretty informal. It's a good time if you can go. It's not a required thing to participate in the surveys, but a lot of people that have done it have really enjoyed it. And with that, we'll answer questions you may have. So at this time, you may be signing into a live portal with us to where we'll answer your questions remotely. Or if you're not, feel free to email questions to Anita or I, and we will answer them for you. Thank you very much for your time and participating in the Iowa Butterfly Survey Network.